We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello and welcome all. I am Amit Kulkarni, Assistant Professor in Electrical Engineering Department at SN Patel Institute of Technology and Research Center, Umrak, Bardoli. So in last lecture, if you remember, we had completed the closed loop operation. Okay, we had even studied CCM, DCM. We had also studied the closed loop operation, and then we were to discuss about isolated converters. So what are isolated converters? So isolated converter is nothing but a converter in which input side and output side is separated using a coupled inductor or using a transformer configuration which electrically separates or isolates input circuit and output circuit. So the first converter which we will be studying is flyback converter. So flyback converter, as I had mentioned you earlier, that flyback converter is nothing but a buck boost type of converter which is isolated type. Okay, so over here you can see in a flyback converter it is a topology of DC-DC converter that it is a converter. Flyback converter is a topology of DC-DC converter that uses mutually coupled inductor. Okay, so there will be a mutually coupled inductor to store energy when current passes through and releasing the energy when power is removed. So configuration will be in such a way that in one case when switch is on and energy is stored in the inductor from the primary side, and when switch is closed, switch is opened, switch is opened, switch is off. When switch is off, well, then what will happen? The energy stored in this inductor will be transferred to the secondary side, and this secondary side will then give the current in the load, and as a result we will get some desired output voltage. So these are some important points which you can jot down, that it is a DC-DC converter which belongs to isolated converter category. Okay, it is a buck boost derived converter. Okay, it is a buck boost derived converter. So this is an important point. Let me highlight this. This is a buck boost derived converter. But what is the important point it has? It has output polarity same as input. It means that will be positive output polarity. If you give plus 10 means positive input polarity, you will give positive output polarity also, unlike buck boost converter which had negative polarity. Next is what is the advantage is that it is having advantage connecting many outputs from single input by using a transformer. So as flyback configuration has a transformer included between primary and secondary. So secondary side, if there is a transformer, then you can connect as many outputs as you want. So you can say that it is a single input, okay, single input and multiple outputs. Okay, so you can conclude that it is nothing but a converter with single input and multiple output configuration, and using a transformer. Okay, using a transformer gives a merit to control output voltage. So merit to control output voltage means apart from controlling duty cycle, now you also have a control of turns ratio. Okay, so two controls are possible, that is duty cycle and turns ratio. So how it is happening? So origin of flyback converter. So this is our classical buck boost converter. So what was done is that this buck boost converter, this inductor was mutually coupled. Okay, so first initially 1:1 transformer was used, where this inductor is replaced and it is to be separated using a isolated transformer. Okay, and it is replaced. So then what is done, this isolated transformer is now placed over here. Okay, so then what will happen, this primary circuit and secondary circuit gets disconnected. Now circuit is isolated, but still the output polarity is negative. If you check this, output polarity is still negative because buck boost converter has opposite polarity. So what is to be done to change this output polarity? We have to either change this dot polarities. Okay, we can change this dot polarities, or we have to change this diode direction also. So we go further and we see that this switch. Okay, let me erase this portion. This portion is all portion. So we see that the this switch is now kept over here. Okay, this will bring no change. Switch is just brought down, and this mutually coupled inductor is now dot configuration is changed. So from upward it has changed to downward direction. It has changed its position from up to down from in the secondary side, and this direction of diode is also changed. Okay, direction of diode is also changed. So once you have done this, this finally gets to be a flyback converter. So this is the final look of flyback converter. Okay, where dot polarities is changed, then the direction of diode is also changed. So after doing this, now you can say that polarity at the output is positive. It means it is same as the input polarity. Okay, so this is how flyback converter was obtained. So now flyback converter, as we saw, first what was done, inductor coupling, mutual coupling was done, their separation was done, then they were isolated, but still it had negative polarity. So what they did is that this dot polarity was changed and it was reversed. Okay, so output this dot polarity is changed from this upper position to downward position, and this dot direction was changed. As a result, output polarity was done to be it is made positive as same as input voltage, and hence flyback converter was derived using buck boost converter. So this is the flyback converter, which is having two modes. First is switch on mode and second is switch off mode. Okay, so mind well, again there is two semiconductor elements present. One is this switch. Okay, one is this switch and another is this diode in the secondary side. So when switch is on, diode in the secondary side will be off, and when diode is on, switch in the primary side will be on. Okay, so you see here, if you are able to see here carefully, then you will be able to observe that then when this input voltage is supplied in the primary side, there will be some primary magnetizing inductance Lm. Okay, there will be some primary magnetizing inductance Lm, and when switch is on, the energy will be stored in the primary side of inductor. When this is positive, this dot configuration makes this secondary side, this term positive and this term to be negative, and negative supply cannot be given to the anode side. Okay, as a result, this diode gets reverse biased naturally. Okay, this diode gets reverse biased, and in reverse bias diode is not on, so as a result secondary side is open. Okay, and next case, when switch is off but diode is on, when switch is turned off, then what will happen, now this switch is off, so what will happen, energy which was stored is now reflected on the secondary side. Now negative, this becomes negative and this becomes positive. Okay, because previous case there was some polarity present, but as now there is no polarity present, the output voltage will become 0. So this 0 becomes over here and this becomes more positive. So that's why now positive supply is connected to anode and negative to cathode. So as a result, diode turns on and you will get some output voltage. So these are the two modes. So let us study each part. So when switch is on and diode is off, so then what will happen during this sub interval 1, when Q1 switch conducts, inductor voltage VL that is this voltage, capacitor current IC, this current, and the DC source current IG. Okay, these three are given by this equation. Okay, so it is nothing but you can write a KVL equation over here. So when you write KVL equation, we will be writing this in the next slide again. This is just for a look for the operation that is happening inside the Flyback converter in mode 1, and with assumptions that converter operates in with small inductor current ripple and small capacitor ripple, and the magnetizing current I and the output current V can be approximated by their capital I and capital V respectively. Okay, so in this case you can replace this small v by capital V and small I by capital I. So in this case what will happen? So we will write these equations again. So when switch is on, you can write that this is suppose supply voltage. Okay, this Vg is suppose Vs. So you can write equation over here that it will be Vs minus Vl. It will be equals to 0, and this is also equals to V1. Okay, V1 means it is the voltage at the primary magnetizing inductance. Okay, or you can say that it is the voltage that is appearing across this primary winding. Okay, so V1 is the voltage across primary winding, V2 will be the voltage across secondary winding. So this is the equation number 1. Now what will be V2? V2 is present over here. Okay, so what will be V2 over here? So this is plus and this is minus as per the equations. So V2 will be, so you have to go according to the turns ratio. So we know that transformer configuration V2 by V1 is N2 by N1. Similarly V1 by V2 is N1 by N2. But as this is having opposite polarity, so minus V1 by V2 will be equals to N1 by N2. So from here V2 will be equals to minus of V1 into N2 by N1. Okay, minus of V1 into N2 by N1, and V1 is equals to Vs, supply voltage. So this will be minus Vs into N2 by N1. This I have given equation number 2. Now for the current which is flowing in magnetizing winding LM, okay, current which is flowing in magnetizing winding LM, consider that initially there is some current flowing, that is Im0 as the minimum current of winding at steady state. So at steady state there will be some average value which will be always flowing in the magnetizing inductor, whether switch is on or off. Some amount of current will be present at any instant, that I have taken as Im0. Okay, so now what will happen? So you can say that this Im is nothing but some steady state current, but when switch is on, some extra current will be flowing from here. So that will be nothing but Vs by Lm into T on. Okay, it will be Vs by Lm into T on. So how I have written this? This is very simple. We know that for turn on time supply voltage is connected, so Vs divided by Lm will give me, so you can see this I, okay, this I gets added up to the Im0. So this I is nothing but the voltage across supply. Okay, this voltage across supply is divided by this Lm. This gives me, the addition of these two gives me capital Im0 plus this current flowing in the magnetizing winding will give me total magnetizing current Im. Okay, this I have given as equation number 3. Now as diode is off in this case, so Id will be equals to 0 and IC will be equals to minus V by R, because over here actually I have taken ICU in this way, but in actually case it will be discharging over here, it will be supplying the current, so direction of current will reverse, so it will give minus V by R. Next is when switch is off but diode is on. So during second interval transistor is in off state and diode conducts. So primary side magnetizing inductance voltage VL, capacitor current IC and DC current source IG will be this equation. So as switch is off, gate current or supply current is 0. So this is bus natural. Supply current is bound to be 0. What will be the inductor voltage? voltage across this inductor. So for this case you have to bring the voltage from secondary to primary side. Okay. In previous case you had brought voltage from primary to secondary. Over here you have to bring secondary to primary. Similarly you have to find for capacitor current. So this we will be seeing the equations in the second slide, that means next slide. So in this we will be studying how to write the equations for KVL for when switch is off. So when switch is off, so what will happen? V2 is equals to VO. Okay. When switch is off, we know that now the voltage across this is plus and this is minus, and this is our V2. Okay, this is our V2. Let me write this again. Let me write this again. So this is my plus and this is my minus, and this is my V2. So V2 is equals to, this is my output voltage VO. So V2 is equals to VO. Okay, V2 is equals to VO when switch is off case. Okay, in that case you can say that V2 is equals to okay, V2 is equals to VO. And what about V1? So again we know that turns ratio V1 by V2 is equals to N1 by N2, but now V2 is equals to VO. So I keep the value of V2 by through VO. So from this I get the value of V1 again. V1 is equals to minus VO into N1 by N2. So in both the cases I have found the value of V1 and V2. Now further, we know also that current through magnetizing inductor will decrease as switches off. Current through magnetizing inductance will decrease because it will get discharged. So now what will happen after it had reached to some maximum value? So in previous case we know that current had started from some steady state value from Im0 plus some current that was Vs by Lm into T on. Now it will decrease from some peak value, that is Im1, to VO by Lm1 into N1 by N2 into T minus T on. Okay. T minus T on is because of turn off time. Okay, because this is happening during turn off time, and this is the effect of turns ratio because it is reflected back towards the primary side from secondary side. Okay, so this is the magnetizing current is in the primary side, so it will be reducing from primary side, and this equation is happening because this is taken from secondary to primary. So secondary is referred to primary, that's why N1 by N2. This is given as equation number 3. And we also know that ID by IM. So as diode current is flowing, so ID by IM will be equals to N1 by N2. Okay, so secondary by primary current, okay, ID by IM will be equals to N1 by N2, because ratios of current will be vice versa of voltage, because in voltage we know that secondary voltage by primary voltage will be equal to secondary turns by primary current, but over here secondary current is diode and primary current is Im, that will be equals to primary turns ratio divided by secondary turns ratio, so which will give us N1 by N2. So this N1 by N2 is written over here, and we have found the value of Im. That whole Im value you can keep it over here. Okay, you can keep it over here. So you will by this approach you are able to find the value of diode current. But we can assume that for simplicity, diode current is simply some I0 steady state current I0. Okay, and IC is equals to, so what is IC? So IC will be Im into N1 by N2 minus V by R. So you can write simply using KCL at this point. Okay, what will be IC? So IC is leaving current, so it will be minus V by R and the addition of I by N. So here I by N is primary current which is reflected towards secondary side, and that is nothing but diode current. Okay, you can say that this is nothing but diode current. Yes or no? I am into N1 by N2. Now using volt second balance equation, now we know that what is volt second balance equation. Now considering output voltage derivation with respect to primary voltage V1. So I had found voltage V1 and V2 for both the cases. So let us solve the output voltage derivation with respect to primary voltage V1. So for switch on case, V1 was Vs, and for switch off case, V1 was Vo into N1 by N2 and minus term, okay, minus times Vo into N1 by N2. So it is kept in the volt second balance equation. So if you solve this, you will get this equation. And now what is done is that for simplicity we can divide this equation by Ts. Okay, we can divide this equation by Ts. So over here you will divide this by Ts, divide this by Ts, and here also this also you will have to divide this by Ts. So on doing this we will get this equation, simplify it, and we know that Ts by Ts will be 1, but T1 by Ts is capital D, it is duty cycle. So if you solve this, you will get this equation. Write this equation in terms of output voltage. So you will get that output voltage will be equal to supply into D upon 1 minus T into N2 by N1. So if you remember, this much part of the equation is the same output equation of buck boost converter. So buck boost converter with turns ratio, so as I had mentioned earlier, buck boost converter with isolation can be said as flyback converter. Now same thing has been mathematically also proved. Okay, yes or no? This much part is the output voltage equation for buck boost converter. Yes or no? And this extra term makes it as isolated buck boost converter. So isolated buck boost converter can be said as flyback converter. So moving further, waveforms. Okay, so over here there will be many waveforms. First will be V1, second is V2, third is magnetizing inductance to magnetizing current, fourth is diode current, and lastly capacitor current. So we know that this was the V1 during Vs, means when switch is on, V1 was equals to Vs. This is the equation, and we had written the equation also for turn on. V1 was equals to Vs, which was also equals to VL. Okay, and I have divided this waveforms into two parts, that is for turn on and turn off period. So when turn on case, we know that V2 was equals to minus times Vs into N2 by N1. So as it is minus sign, I have taken this below 0. Okay, this is the 0 axis, this is drawn below 0. Don't consider it for Im, this is of for V2 only. Okay, what was Im? Im was increasing from some initial value Im0 to some maximum point, and this maximum point I had called as Im1. Okay, next ID current, ID was 0 and IC was minus V by R. Now when switch is off, we know that the V1 was minus Vo into N1 by N2, and there is some partition for T off, and when switch is off, that time V2 was equals to output voltage. Okay, and the current decreased from some maximum value, that is Im1 to again Im0. So if you check this analysis of waveform, you can say that this is working in CCM mode. Okay, this converter is working in CCM mode because the on time and off time is adjusted in such a way that current does not goes to 0 in switching period. Okay, but during turn off case, that is switch is off, diode current is on, so that's why diode current is flowing. Okay, and the average is I0. Next is capacitor current, and that was also derived. So simply you just need to remember that what is the derivation of all the terms. From the derivation you can simply write these terms. Okay, these terms are nothing, no hard to remember. You just need to know the values of the derivations, and if you know the derivation then you will be able to draw the waveform very easily. Okay, there is nothing hard in this figure. So let me remove the ink. So this is the final waveform. Draw this waveform on your own and try to analyze. If you are not able to understand, again go back and understand this part and again come over here. So we move ahead. The next topic is forward converter, which is the last converter of isolated configuration in the syllabus. So forward converter came from buck converter. So this is buck converter and this is forward converter. So what you are able to observe is, see over here what is done. There is a switch present. Okay, this switch is kept over here. This diode inductor, what is done is that this inductor is brought forward and diode is taken back. Okay, diode is taken back. So what is done is that we get a coupling of inductor and that is separating the buck converter. So for configuration, what is done is that this much part and this much part is the same as buck converter. What extra is introduced is these two diodes. Okay, what extra is actually if you see this only one D1 is brought, that only is the change. Okay, if you observe, this D1 is the only extra term which is added in addition to this isolated transformer. Other all things are remain same in the buck converter. Okay, so origin of forward converter. The forward converter is a topology of DC-DC converter that uses mutually coupled inductor to store energy. So these terms remain same as flyback. Only thing is that it is now a buck derived DC-DC converter. And what is the advantage? It is a advantage that it is an advantage of connecting many outputs. Okay, using a transformer gives merit to duty cycle and input voltage by varying turns ratio. And in ideal condition, so this is a problem. Okay, every time there will be not advantages. So this is advantage. You can say that this is advantage. This is also advantage. This is also advantage, but this is a limitation. Or you can say that this is a disadvantage. However, it can be improved. Okay, disadvantage can be improved. So in ideal condition, forward converter transformer completely demagnetizes. However, in practical case, what happens is that energy that is stored in the inductor is not completely dissipated. So for that we need a tertiary winding. Okay, so let us see the origin of forward converter. So this was the classical buck converter. So what was done is that they separated the buck converter with a transformer. So this diode is not present just now. Okay, forget this. I draw this by mistake. So possible, let me draw it to be blue so that there is no confusion. So there is no diode present over here. Okay, so this is the converter initially. Okay, they just separated the input side. This much part is separated through a transformer. Okay, then what is done? Then this extra diode is replaced. Okay, then this extra diode is replaced and then finally you get the forward converter. So configuration is very simple, straightforward, and the name is also forward converter. So forward converter, there will be two modes. So over here you have to understand that a switch and diode has to operate, and another case switch will be off and only diode will operate. Okay, so over here switch and diode combination with another diode. Okay, so when switch is on, D1 has to remain on because this is dot product is on the same side. So it means that when this is positive, this is also positive. So when current will flow over here, switch is on. So at that same time current will also flow over here on the secondary side, refer to the secondary side. Okay, so it means S and D1 will remain on simultaneously and D2 will remain off. In second mode, D2 will remain on, and in that case switch and diode D1 will remain off. Okay, so over here if you write KVL equation in the primary side, you can write that Vs minus V1 equals to 0, and the secondary side V2 is equals to V1 into N2 by N1. Now when switch and diode D1 is on, so what will happen? So you can write on the secondary side, over here you can write a KVL equation. So you can get the KVL equation as V2 minus VL. Okay, so let me make the terminals. This is plus minus, and over here this is plus and this is minus. So now you can write the KVL equation V2 minus VL minus VO equals to 0 when switch and diode D1 are on, and you will get the equation as VL equals to V2 minus VO. And further you can replace this V2 with this equation V1 into N2 by N1, and V1 is nothing but Vs. So you are able to write inductor voltage with respect to input and output voltage. Okay, so this is the equation 1 when switch and diode D1 is on. And similarly you are able to find the magnetizing current flowing in the primary side. Okay, it means that this inductor can be realized with a primary magnetizing inductance which is connected in parallel with the actual inductor. Okay, so Im will be equals to Vs upon, so suppose this is having primary inductance LP and there is some primary magnetizing current which is flowing over here, so this Im will be equals to Vs divided by LP into turn on time. Similarly, what will be the switch current? Switch current will be equals to N2 by N1 into capital Is. Okay, similarly total primary current, that is coming from here will be equals to N2 by N1 into Is. Is is secondary current. Okay, it is not, this S is only secondary current, so secondary current into N2 by N1 plus the primary magnetizing inductance current, addition of 2 will give us total primary current. Okay, next mode is when switch and diode are off. Diode means D1, this and this is off. Okay, only D2 is on, so it means that now it will be over here only, but however we need to calculate V1 and V2. So in this case when switch is off, the loop will be on the secondary side, so minus VL minus VO. Again let me give the terminal polarities, this will be plus minus and this will be plus minus, so you will be able to write the equation VL will be equals to minus VO, and when you apply volt second balance equation, now we know that inductor voltage for on case and off case, so we are able to write that inductor voltage for on case we got the value as Vs into N2 by N1 minus VO, and for off case we can write this minus VO. Okay, so minus VO is written over here. So if you solve this and divide this equation by Ts, so what will happen? I have divided this T on by Ts, and over here also Ts by Ts and T1 by Ts. So Ts by Ts will get to be 1, and this T1 by Ts we very well know that it is equals to capital D, that is duty cycle. Okay, so further solving this, you will get that Vs into N2 by N1 into D, capital D, minus VO into D. This will be equals to VO minus VO into D. So this term and this term will get cancelled. Okay, so as a result your output voltage will be equals to Vs into N2 by N1 into capital D. Okay, I hope that equation derivation was very easy. Let me highlight this, that this much part. Okay, which part, let me highlight it again. This output voltage equals to Vs into D. Okay, Vs into D, this much part you already know that this is derivation of buck converter. Only thing which is added is this N2 by N1. This N2 by N1 is because of the turns ratio which is included between the buck converter. So this is the output voltage derivation for forward converter mode. Similarly, you can draw the waveform easily. Now you know how to draw the waveform. You just need to calculate the values of V1, V2, inductor voltage, secondary current, output current, and from the values you are able to draw the waveforms very easily. So till here, this is the part 2 which I had mentioned, that you have studied non-isolated converter, and in this part 2 you have studied isolated converter. Now in further section we will be starting with uh, multi-quadrant chopper, before which I would like to finish one last topic, that is review of isolated and non-isolated converter. Okay, so this is very important point, and many times it is asked, okay, that we know that flyback converter and buck boost converter both are same. Only thing is that in flyback converter transformer is used which separates primary and secondary. So what is the advantage, disadvantage, or comparison which you can make between the two same topologies with a small transformer inclusion? So you can compare it based on this output polarity, output equations, inductors, power, circuits, modularity, and controllability. So output polarity, you can say that buck boost is a negative polarity output, but flyback converter has positive output polarity. Next you can go with the equation. So this is the equation. Output voltage is minus times input voltage into D by 1 minus D. But in flyback converter, output is positive times D in divided by 1 minus D with the inclusion of turns ratio. Okay. Now inductor, over here it is a simple inductor, but over here this is a coupled inductor. Okay, this is a coupled inductor. What else can you see, that in power, if you compare it with respect to power rating, then you can say that buck boost converter operates for low power application, whereas flyback converter is always used for high power application. If you go circuit wise, this is non-isolated type. Okay, non-isolated type because input and output are connected on same ground, whereas flyback input and output are isolated by a transformer. In terms of modularity, modularity means how many such types of output can be connected to a single input. So over here you can see that it can be connected with one output only, that is SISO. SISO means single input single output, where over here this was discussed in the starting that flyback converter has many multiple outputs that can be connected at the output, hence this is single input multiple output. Next is controllability. So output voltage can be controlled by varying duty cycle. So this was also discussed in the non-isolated type, where if duty cycle is operated between 0 and 0.5, then it will be buck operation. If duty cycle is operated greater than 0.5 but less than 1, okay, then that will be a boost mode. As compared to buck boost, flyback converter output voltage can be controlled using duty cycle and turns ratio, which can be seen over here. Turns ratio can also be changed and duty cycle can also be changed. However, it is used mostly for boost operation. So the next topic, which is multi-quadrant operation of DC-DC chopper, this topic will be covered in the part 3 of this video.